life. I guess you could call it a prearranged relationship, since neither of us ever really agreed on it to my knowledge. But I love her though, and I think she loves me. But you know how relationships go. Now check it out now.
She started with the promise of perfect peaceful equality, calling me forth with liberty, justice, honor, and honesty. Probably the reason you get sucked by me if you're properly addressing she in my presence, blind with pride, just live the dream. Made to believe the deviation from her plan would lead to the devastation of a nation, no one around me. How can this be? Actions opposite of what she preach. Tells me be free, then she over short is on my leash, and I overlook it. Can't believe that she's crooked. Look at everything she done, plenty blessings I took from just the thought of it gets me sugar. Double cross me, she wouldn't, couldn't fathom the plots and plans against a man when she cooked. Come in the bucket, so much more you're worth. No, you never do me harm, and I'm defending you to dirt. So send me to my grave. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, yeah. Send me to my grave. What? Big bitch gon' be the death of me. Yes, yes, yeah. I said yeah. Oh, yeah. I got a big mean woman. Check it out now. Lately she's influenced by power, corruption, money, greed. Funny thing, and folks invincible with something she needs. Barely feeds her own seeds, trapped and struggling at home. I know she see me bleed, she disrespect. Once more I'm gone. Tap my paycheck, tap my phone. Watch what I hand with the road I'm on. Once take the bank, she's illegally on. That right there, probably start wrong. I big bitch, officially on. I ain't giving up till one of us gone. Time for me to make the real point of the song. Meaning I'm patriot, about to be known. It's gotta be the oath to the Constitution. Men run you, better watch you doing. Frigid little mo, keep trying to ruin. Rights we were born with, we ain't gotta prove them. How you abuse, got you confused. You work for the people, don't serve you. I'ma say it one more time, better watch you do. Big brother, little boy sees you. Catching out on these game schemes. Capitalist, corporate, federal money machines. Pharmaceuticals companies that talk to genes. Fluoride in the water and food causing disease. Mainstream media dumb us down. Broken politicians running into the ground. The one we lost, we don't know where to go. Introduced to a savior, NWO. Send me to my grave. Oh no, I don't think so, baby. Send me to my grave. What? Big bitch won't be the death of me. Yes, yes, yeah. I say yeah. Oh, I got a big mean woman.
I saw that I would support the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I would bear true faith and allegiance to the same. So
Yes, yes, yeah. Liberty and justice. Steady losing. Only American dream if you're snoozing. Wake up, we cruising, but who got control? Certainly ain't the people, don't believe that shit no more. Drivers driving reckless, back to reckless. We all getting ejected, and when this happen, man, the whole world gets affected. So to leaders once respected, tell them check this. Our term for scary, Leonidas kicked to the chest, bitch, this America. Send me to my grave.
that's about how it is right there, man.
Send me to my
It's a
grave.
complete love-hate, you know. Even if I wanted to run away,
Yes, yes,
she'd
yes.
probably end up tracking me down.
I got a big mean.
Something's gotta change, man. We gotta fix this. I still love you though.
Ladies and gentlemen, some may consider this clip you're about to see to be shocking and unbelievable. We assure you that it has not been digitally altered in any way to portray events untrue to reality. What you see is how the events unfolded, as captured by gymkhanajosh.
I'm on a brand new GSXR 600. GSXR 600, GSXR 600, GSXR 600, GSXR 600.
Yeah. No, it's so dope. The only problem I have with him is that he rides his bitch. But
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
As you know, I am anti-GSXR, but this one was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. So I'm gonna test ride it, and I'm gonna let y'all know how I like it. And be honest with you, it's a newer model, so I'm not really gonna be able to have to trash it like I did the older models. But I'm gonna enjoy this. So for those of y'all that know I talk shit about Jixers, I could afford to buy one and not like it. Watch Beyond the Apex, 8 o'clock, Tuesdays.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Gymkhanajosh, and welcome to Beyond the Apex, where we talk about motorcycle everything and then some. Tonight, we have a legend on our show. I mean, we usually have some legendary people on our show, but this guy is literally a legend. Soon to be inducted into the Harley Davidson Hall of Fame. He's noted for many accomplishments, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Mostly, this guy built some sick bikes, from baggers to busas to ZX14s to, if you name it, this guy has probably made it go faster. But like I said, we'll get into that in a little bit. One thing I want to say before we even kick things off, Beyond the Apex t-shirts, hats, decals, all the merchandise is officially available. I don't know if you saw the content on my channel earlier in the week, but I hung out with Butter this past weekend. I went over to Cotton Hustle, his business over here in Brooklyn. So this is Brooklyn owned, Brooklyn manufactured. Apparel is coming. So if you're interested, DM me, DM Butter at Hustle Kings NYC. Get your t-shirts, get your hats, get your other apparel. So without further ado, if you look over to my left-hand side or your right-hand side, you'll see my co-host Butter. Butter, what's up with you, brother?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo.
You know, we was out riding that Jigsaw today.
When I told
if
Butter
you
that I
guys,
was gonna play that video, he's like, "Oh, you." He was not
you
too
mother
happy about
flower. So guys, if you really want to like get proof that I was riding the Jigsaw and enjoying it, go on Josh's YouTube channel, and you can actually see it live for yourself. The proof is there. Josh videotaped it all.
Right on, right on. What's going on this week? I know there's been a whole lot going down. Any events coming up or things to shout out?
So we're officially we're gonna be talking about the female track day, July 22nd.
Right.
Bunch of girls coming up from North Carolina. Race to R2R Racing,
yeah. America,
and Unicorn Gang are gonna team up here in New York Safety Track for an all-female day issue. We'll be promoting it. So I want to let everybody know, all the ladies watching, if you want to get into some female track, this is the day. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on this day. We have our anniversary party, April 17th. The place is to be determined. We're just waiting on weather conditions for the venue, but there will be food. There'll be vendors. We're going to have cigar vendors, clothing vendors, drinking vendors. So there'll be all types of vendors. Support small businesses. There'll be a lot of bike industry people. Gonna have some sort of sponsorship from Cowie, and hopefully Icon will be in the building.
Okay. That's some big names right there. That'd be nice.
Yes, sure.
All right, so you wanna bring in our special guest this evening, or you want me to kick it off?
This is your show. This has been the
like
guest
that.
You've been waiting for.
Yo, this is actually.
I know you've been waiting.
This is actually Mike's doing. For y'all that watch the show, you know, one of our sponsors, Mike from Mike's Pro Lids. Yo, that guy, he is one of my favorite people to talk to. Like, as soon as you get him on the phone, he's always so positive, so motivated, so energetic. And he actually told me about Tommy Bolton, our guest this evening, a while back, and he's like, "Yo, man, when you come down here for this biker brawl, I gotta get you guys linked up. You gotta, you know, do something with Tommy." And I thought it was a cool idea. I thought it was great, but just recently I found out you said that the biker brawl kind of got pushed back or canceled temporarily, right?
Because of COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
So luckily, thanks, Mike. We appreciate you for making this happen. We actually did get linked up with Tommy Bolton, and we'll bring him in right now. Actually, Tommy Bolton, among many different accomplishments, Tommy, or Mr. Bolton, he told me not to say Mr. Bolton, but Tommy is noted for being the first African American to go over 200 miles an hour in a sanctioned quarter-mile race on a bike. Did I get that correct? That's the gist of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And I mean, aside from that, you know, if that's not noteworthy enough, this man also he builds the sickest bikes, and it's not just Harleys, it's not just Cowies, it's all over the spectrum. Like I said in the beginning, he does baggers, he builds custom classy styled bikes, as well as the busas, the ZX14s. You scroll through his Instagram, it's just crazy what this guy does, and
And if I'm not mistaken, he technically has built the fastest bike down the quarter-mile track. Am I correct, Mr. Bolton?
Yep, a couple times.
There you
okay,
go. So he not only breaking records, he continues to set them.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's what's up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring in the legend himself, the humble giant of Oklahoma, Mr. Tommy Bolton of TomBo Racing. Thank you, and it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show.
No problem. No problem. Glad to be sitting here with you youngsters.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
That, that's the Midwest thing, youngsters or young whippersnappers, as they say it, right down
Yeah,
south.
youngsters.
Yo, so
Well, I'm not that young. I'm 44 years old.
No, okay.
I'm right behind you, man. I'm not gonna say how old I am, but I'm right behind you.
I got 2 boxes older than you guys.
Okay, fair enough.
That's how I talk to the teenagers today. I got Jordans older than you. He got 2 boxes older.
Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
got wrenches older than y'all.
Probably more,
I
useful
know
too.
for a fact I got a Black and Decker drill that's older than you guys.
And it still works, right?
Work like a charm. Extension cord all wrinkled, but it still worked.
We all have some wrinkly stuff, that's for sure. But yo, Mr. Bolton, I wanted to kick off the things that we were talking about tonight. Really, was just kind of taking it back to, day one for you. It's actually a really interesting story too. How you got your feet wet, how you actually got yourself into the industry. So, for our viewers at home, give them kind of a general overview of like where you got started in the bike life. Building and racing.
I got started on this stuff way back in the 70s, and it went from there. I grew up in Los Angeles, like I said before, probably the mecca of the motorsport industry. And I grew up on 120th and Main. Anybody that know anything about motorcycles or motorsports would love to be in that particular range, because I had a ball growing up over there, So, at 12 years old, I'm running up and down the street on Main, and you could go down the street any Sunday morning, and you're gonna run into all these different shops. And one of the shops that I ran into was I met Terry and Byron Hines. Terry Vanson, that owns Vanson Hines now.
Okay.
I met them guys when I was 13 years old.
Damn.
I went up and down the street door, and that made me want to get into the motorcycles, And then the neighborhood guys was the Honda man, and man, it just went on from there.
It's funny you mentioned Vance and Hines. For the youngsters, the young whippersnappers that don't know much about bikes and think they know everything, Vance and Hines at one time, even in my era, was the exhaust of all exhausts. The racing Cowies had them, the Yamahas, even the Harley Davidsons, the B-Rods. A lot of these bikes still carry Vance and Hines. People who know the exhaust, know the quality of the exhaust, and know the power production that it puts out. Mr. Bolton, can you explain to people how Vance and Hines has been a fixture in the motorcycle community and what they produce?
Yeah, they built they took when they first opened their shop back in the early 80s. One of the things that they concentrated on was building the exhaust systems and making them work. And for those guys that don't know, they were the first one to build a tune type pipes. They built these pipes back then with no dyno machines and none of that stuff. And then for when they started coming out later in the 80s, and they started the dynos got developed where they would use them on the motorcycles. They was ahead of the game because all they did was pipes at the time.
Interesting.
And can I say, I can safely say that the pipe or the exhaust of choice when you're building one of your superior bikes?
Oh yeah, it's some of them. It's now you got a bunch of pipes that compete with them, like the Brock Davidson pipes, the Brock pipes. So all of these guys. The one thing that I hate to say how old I am, but I know all these guys when they was youngsters, when they was getting started, except
Wow.
for Vance and Lyons.
Actually, that brings
Wow.
up a question that I got, which is, when you build these bikes, are you? I noticed in some of the videos and some of the pictures, you are actually in your shop. Do you actually do any sort of like fabrication or metalwork in your shop, or do you usually source parts like exhaust and whatnot from other companies?
No, currently, I build in my shop. I fabricate. I can honestly say I fabricate 90% of the things that go on my bikes. I do right here in the shop. Like if you look at those way out baggers that me and my guys be riding, we build the frames right here in the shop.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's crazy. That's a lot more work than just changing out some parts. That's for sure.
Well, that's the thing that I was saying. A Tombo bike won't get lost in the parking lot. It won't be the same.
Now, I'm sure with a man of your stature, there has to be a list of celebrities that you done built bikes for. Are you able to give us that list or somewhat?
The entire
Yeah, I
list.
can give you. Yeah, well, it'll take me a while, but back in when I was 15, 16 years old, we did a bike for Isaac Hayes. So it starts from there and goes up.
Okay.
We did drag bike with a guy named Lloyd Strauss out of New York there with him and Mike Tyson. We did his pro stock bike before, so it goes on.
Did I see? I think I saw like
Wow.
Ray J on your Instagram too.
Oh yeah, and Ray J too.
Right on.
Nice.
That must have been not too
That's
long ago though, right? Was that like the past couple of years?
Right. Yeah.
What
He was
what you build for Ray J?
he was he's one of one of the cool crazy kids.
Right.
You know.
What'd you build for him?
I
What'd you
knew
build for him?
a Rogue.
Okay.
But
I
see,
know Mike Tyson was a fan of the Goldwing. I remember him. I remember riding with him in the late '90s when he was still boxing. He came by the shop. I remember because my sister Sabrina gave him a helmet, and the helmet ended up on the newspaper, the Daily News or the Post. And he's riding a Honda Goldwing. And I never forget, there was a Vietnamese guy who ran in the shop barefooted, and Mike almost knocked him out because he's like, Mike Tyson, the champion, Mike Tyson. And we're like, oh, okay, guys, take it easy. And Mike's like looking at this guy like, whoa. And then, I just want a picture of Mr. Tyson. But I know Tyson is a big, avid motorcycle fan.
Yeah.
You never told me that. I never knew you met Tyson. You rode with Tyson before. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, he used to have a building here by me where he used to fly his pigeons. He had a pigeon coop about a block away. Yeah, he's into that big time. And then after he retired from boxing, he got rid of the building and stuff like that. But he had several coops throughout Brooklyn. But enough about him, about Mr. Bolton. So when you build a race bike, so let's just say I want to build the simplest race bike. Where does that put me at
That sounds like
on the price scale?
an oxymoron, like a paradox. Simple race bike.
A simple bike. You're at the wrong spot.
So it's like I got Honda money, but I want a Mercedes Benz. Is what you're saying?
You're at the wrong spot.
So what is the starting deposit? Let's say that. What is the 10%, 20% deposit to start on a TomBo racing bike?
Oh shucks. they started about 15 and go up.
what's the biggest price tag you've ever produced?
This is gonna be crazy.
Something like Ray J's 120.
Damn. Damn. What about paint? Do you do
Now,
paint in house too?
Well, we got a couple of my buddies. They got paint
Mm,
shops. So one of my guys that's on the race team. He paints and we he does a lot of sick stuff. You know, the guys that's with me at TomBo Racing, we all fortunate enough to have a bunch of different talent where we do everything.
right,
You
right,
know,
right.
nice.
we we're not those simple. We're not the simple guys. We kind of like man, these guys do everything. You know.
Right. Well,
That's
actually,
pretty
I
dope.
really appreciate that. I like that too because even if there is something like I'm not a body guy, I don't do body work. I realize there's like an art to it, you know, and just as like you know mechanically to learn over the years the ins and the outs and tips and tricks, things of that nature. Body work is really the same thing, and I never really focused on that. So I think I appreciate when somebody is able to take a step back and be like, you know what, I'm not a body guy, but I know Butter, and Butter knows body guys. So when it comes to body work, I'm gonna holler at Butter. I'm gonna get linked up with a good body guy.
Well, and that's one of the things that I feel that I'm gifted.
Hmm.
If it's something that I can't do, I know I happen to know somebody that's that's the best in they deal,
Yeah.
in they land in their profession. I know some of the best painters. If it's a chassis or something that we can't do here at the shop, I know some of the best builders.
Right.
And I got some of the best welders. I don't weld myself, but I got a guy that does it.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, the colonel, the colonel started trying to do barbecue, but he found out he was better at chicken, so he left it alone. So, so I'm like that.
Got you. Got you.
I ain't mad at you. So I got a good question. So right now, Tombo Racing, do you guys have any sponsored racers that actually race your bikes out there professionally?
Yeah, I got my in-house guys that that uh that race with Tombo Racing. I got my in-house guys that race with me for us, like uh Smoke Lottie, Kermit Lottie, Glenn Nickelberry, uh my guy Jimmy Smith, Jimmy Cook. I got a bunch of guys that race under the Tombo banner out of the shop now.
So that means there's got to be a lot of trophies in that shop. Am I correct?
I'm sure.
I don't know. I don't know if you can see behind
No,
me.
it's all blurred out.
A little blurry.
Kind of got the outline.
Okay, we, we got it. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of checks behind those trophies too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's funny because I just really had an interview with someone, and we were talking about how Kawasaki, a lot of people are buying Kawasaki's, and this is just for CCR racing. I don't know if it works like that for quarter mile racing, but I come to find out that Kawasaki is one of the higher payouts when it's a sanctioned event or something like that. That they're actually paying out more money if you win on a Cowie. Is that also true on a quarter mile thing, or who's the better brand?
Um, on something like that, I would, far as the drag racing is concerned, on something like that, I would have to say the best brand out there right now. They like the Suzuki's, but uh, Suzuki hasn't really got behind the drag racing stuff as much as I would have thought they would. Kawasaki is the one of the only factories that have behind their bikes, their brand. I can say that.
That is kind of strange, actually,
Say
because
that again?
as much as we talk smack about Gixxers, I mean, the Hayabusa is actually a Gixxer 1300, isn't it? Isn't that classified as a GSXR?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
See, I mean, like that's the drag bike of the decade for the most part. And then when that got re-released, I know everybody was going nuts about the new
Well,
Hayabusa.
you got to think. You got the one thing you got to take in consideration that the Suzuki has made a bike that's been more versatile than any bike that ever was.
Hmm.
Uh, far as being used. That Suzuki platform, far as the GS 1100, the GS 1150 has been used in the drag racing just about everybody. But when it comes to, when it came to the road race type stuff and all of that stuff, then that's when the platform switched over to more of the Yamahas and the Kawasaki's and the Hondas and all that stuff, But when it comes now in drag racing, the favorite bike is a Suzuki GXXR or the Hayabusa.
Right. And actually, it's not even my history in motorcycles and racing is not in drag racing. I've never actually ventured into that aspect of motorcycle racing yet. But back roads, I lived in Japan for quite some time. I'm actually really impressed with the Gixxer 1300, the Hayabusa. I know it gets kind of a stereotypical, image here in the States as like, a drag race bike stretched just for straight line, whatever. But it's actually a really capable bike. I've seen, 120-pound, short, 5-foot, nothing Japanese women like cutting through back roads in Japan on a Hayabusa. It's actually really a capable bike if you know how to handle it. But I think people here just see it as a drag race bike. That's about it.
I think Suzuki must have cut this fucking guy a check because
no. I still got my Cowie bandana behind me. But dude, I can show you video. I got video.
No, I hear you. I ain't mad at you. Listen, so, Mr. Bolton, I got a good question. I've always been a fan of the Yamaha V-Rod and the Harley V-Rod, the V-Max, right, and the V-Rod.
Mm-hmm.
If you had your choice to build one bike out of the two with no expenses, which one would be the fastest bike?
Oh.
Well, the V-Max, of course,
I've always said it, and I don't understand why Yamaha stopped making this monster. I still to this day.
Well, one of the things that you got to look at, the Yamaha built this. It's got the different type of V twin, and it had all the modern technology, and these things really made a lot of torque because it was I forgot the degrees on the crankshaft, but
they changed it. Yeah,
they separate, and that's what the V-Rod was actually patterned out, modeled out there, but they just didn't get it as quick,
Yeah, because I remember you could see the motor stuck out a little bit different than most V-Rod,
right.
than most V-twins. Yeah, I noticed that big time. But yeah, it's always been one of my favorite bikes out of the old big boys. And so how much horsepower can you crank out of what's the highest horsepower you cranked out of the rear wheel?
On which bike?
Any bike. Just give me a number and a bike.
Well, I'm building a couple new Pro Extreme bikes now, and they should make gasoline. They should make around 700 horsepower, and when I add the nitrous to it, they should make around 800, 850, somewhere up in there.
These are not gasoline bikes, though, right? These are something else, like methane or something, nitromethane or something.
Yeah, alcohol. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow, that's really crazy on a bike with gas too.
That's one of those bikes that has like the long metal bar at the end, the little wheel on the bottom.
Yeah, the wheelie bar.
Wheelie bar. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely gonna wheelie at 850 horsepower.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, for
sure. Another good question is like, so I have an uncle here in New York City. His name is Miguel. He's like a Chevy fanatic. He can work on any old car. That's not the problem. He is just so in tune with Chevy. Like, you can call him from 3,000 miles away on a shoddy reception phone and tell him what's wrong with the car, and he'll tell you exactly how to fix it and what's wrong with it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your preferred bike like that? Like, there's a bike that you can say, well, I can tell you from a mile away what's wrong with it. I'm pretty sure, but there's that one bike that Mr. Bolton knows, like, man, I could smell what's wrong with it.
And one of them GS 1150s.
Okay.
or
Yeah.
or 750 Honda.
750. Interceptor. Am I correct?
No,
The
this is
Nighthawk?
the old 1976 750 Honda, the one that I drove to school.
It's a CD.
I was born in '76. Jesus Christ.
Gee, I keep telling you that Black and Decker drill. That Black and Decker drill.
Well, now, I'm not one to cover the sky with my hands, as we say in Spanish, but um, sources has told me, and we have close sources. A lot of people have done him, and I know you've turned the blind eye because God has blessed you beyond belief. And no need to mention names, but where do you see those people that done you wrong in the bike community? Are they still in it? Has their name been tarnished because of what they done to you?
No, I'm cool. I ain't got time for that. I grew up in, like I said, if you ain't doing something good, nobody know who you are. If you're doing something and making power and doing what the next man can't do, that's where the hatred came from. You know, you know, you got to do something to make them hate you. So,
Now I know. As an African American, it's very hard to get recognized from these type of accomplishments because we still live in a society where white man still dominates. Apparently, right? We just had one black president, and we went back to having another white president. Um, and I know the history behind the Easy Rider bike, where the gentleman we just mentioned his name last week. The gentleman who actually customed those bikes was African American and never really got any credit until their
yeah,
stories went over.
that was old man Benny Harden.
Yes.
He was one of the guys whose shop I used to go to as a kid,
Oh.
and so I was seeing them bikes as a kid back then when he was building those bikes right after he built those bikes. But I used to go to this guy's shop, and he was the one that built all of those bikes back back in the late '60s and the '70s. He built those bikes. And the funny thing about a lot of the bikes and a lot of the styles that came from back then, these guys was actually building these bikes then.
Wow. And it's crazy because they say he was way ahead of his time.
Yep.
Building bikes.
Business. He had to take some business.
Huh?
Handling business.
Singles.
Double.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take them steel braided ones out for myself.
Well, I'm doing an interview with a guy right now.
Hey man, take it.
Yeah, handle
hey,
business.
Mr.
Go ahead, man. Do your
Hey,
thing.
you can take us into the shop. Can we take a look at your shop?
Nice.
Yeah, this is dope, man. This is the best part of the show when they take us into the shop.
Okay.
You're gonna see these steel braided brake
Give us a little tour. So we're going live into TomBo Racing's custom shop.
I think he's got that like
stuff.
blur effect added on his page though. He's got to turn that off.
These are new bikes, new baggers.
Hey Tommy, can you hear us?
Yeah.
So I think you might have set something on your camera so that it blurs the background.
What about now?
Still blurry.
All right.
Oh, I see. I had my finger over
it. All right. So this is the shop.
Yeah. You said you wanted to see one of these long extreme bikes?
Yep.
Is that long enough for you there?
Shit, that shit look like a jigsaw stretched out.
See how big the tire is on the back?
Ooh. So what is that you're working on there?
This is going to be a turbo nitrous Suzuki.
I knew it. See, I knew it was a jigsaw right from the beginning.
No, but it's a Hayabusa.
Even worse.
And then I got the shop full of here's a GX 1000. This is another Tombo bike. We call it Django.
Oh yeah. He's got the crazy names for him too. He's got like the Rick James bike, the Predator bike, the Django bike.
Yeah, yeah. See, here's another one. Then we got another. Here's this one right here. We call Bro Man.
Bro, man. Bro, man from the fifth floor.
Yeah. And this
I
one
can
right
see
here,
you riding, bro, man.
this one right here we call the Riddler.
Nice.
What's that?
Now I know you had a bike called Rick James.
Yeah. My name's Rick James, bitch.
Oh, this is cool. This is great. Thanks for bringing us inside the shop.
And then we get, then we got the bikes with the big old wheels on them.
I see that.
I saw he posted on his Instagram something about a new Shinko tire that's like 30-inch.
Yeah, but I got some. We got wheels. Like this is a bike that I'm doing now. This has got a 32 on it.
Whoa. So I got a buddy who builds some choppers here in New York. He's customizing bikes, Rock Boy choppers. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
That's my buddy Meatloaf.
Yeah. Then then like I said, I grew up around the old guys like Sugar Bear, the guy Sugar Bear that builds all the chopper frames and stuff.
Oh, nice. And where's he located?
He's in California now.
Oh, he's in California.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to build a custom bagger, what do you recommend? You recommend go brand new on a bike and then customize it? It's your own bike, you get it done, or a lot of guys say, find yourself a 15, 16, at a good price. What do you think?
I do my TomBo brand. We do the same, like West Coast choppers or any of that stuff, or what's we do the same thing as like
Orange County.
Orange County, because we got our own line of bikes that we build.
Okay.
And so we got the same thing as those guys. I don't know if you can see this. This is one of the titles to one of our bikes right here. And if you can look at the brand,
it'll say TomBo Racing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So now, what type of about if someone comes to your shop and wants to buy a TomBo Racing custom bagger, what type of motor is in there? Is it an SNS? Is it an American Eagle? What kind of motor you build it with? I'm only asking because I don't know.
Well, on a serious note, we give them a couple of choices. We either go with the TomBo brand type motor,
okay,
or in which I take a stock style Harley motor, and I do it to our specs, or I use an SNS motor, or I use one of the Ultima motors, twin cam motors.
So now
that's what I use.
Now I know once. So I know personally for me, like if I'm gonna, like, let's say I bought a bike, right? I'm gonna go with the brand motor, obviously, because I'm pretty sure the warranty behind yours is gonna stand better than another manufacturer that you already did the bike over and whatever, there's been modification. How does that work with your brand? Like, as a sales pitch, how do I tell a customer, going with a TomBo Racing?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that you get one of mine. You got a bike that's been tried and tested already. Because by me being in this deal for something like 40 years, I understand how to ride like a youngster, and I understand how to ride like a nut, and so the bikes you want to go put something in to tear it up. In other words,
Hmm.
you want to do it, to tear this thing up. So uh, normally normally on something like that, you give a year or so warranty on it, you know, for parts or parts or labor that goes out of that messes up. But I can look at them and tell that tore it up. I've been doing it so long and tearing up my own stuff so long, so I know exactly what to do and not to do.
You can smell the bullshit
No,
before it
I
walks in the
swear,
door.
I
Oh,
just started it and it
I can
started
see.
smoking. I have no idea. I just did it.
Yeah, you're like, dude, you didn't give it a chance to warm up. So what the hell? Shit.
Yo, to kind of go back
That's
to what we were talking about in the beginning with the Hall of Fame. So as Mike has told us, right, Tommy, you're going to be very soon inducted into the Harley Davidson Hall of Fame. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Well, one, why did it take so long? You've been doing this. You've been in the game for 40 years. This should have been a thing.
because he's black.
That could be. That could be.
Well, a lot of because see now the thing about it now, and I always tell guys about this nowadays. Say for instance, when I did the 200-mile-an-hour thing,
Mm.
you couldn't you couldn't you couldn't go to the store and buy all the parts that you can do now. You can buy everything you want. It's just like the bike that I had back then. I bought I bought the frame from a guy and I built the motor.
Mm.
Me and Byron Hines, and we built the motor uh that was that that was
Mm.
fast. And so nowadays it's simple because at the time when I went 200 miles an hour, I want you to think about what I'm saying now. It was only it was only three guys that had eclipsed that 200 at that time, and they did it with nitro methane,
But you were on straight gas,
and
right?
yeah, nitro methane, and I came back and did it with a turbo and some
Oh,
alcohol.
alcohol.
You know,
Mm.
so so man, nowadays, they got way better, things have revived where you got better parts now.
So how do you feel about being inducted? Like, how do you feel about the whole thing? I mean, is it like, I mean, obviously it's an honor if when somebody was willing to,
I just I just can't wait till it happens.
yeah,
Hopefully, after all this COVID crap.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
So
this COVID stuff has put a crunch on it, but now I'm more proud of that. That I'm more proud now that people
Recognize it, right?
recognizing
Yeah.
what I done way back when.
Hmm.
You know,
so let me ask you a question. Because in order to be in the Hall of Fame, you must really love bikes, right? So were you that guy on Friday night that could have possibly had a date but decided to work on his bike instead of going out with the girls?
yeah, yeah.
I have a buddy like that. That's why I laugh because I have a buddy who, for many many years, I would find him in his garage on a Friday night, and he be tuning up a bike. I mean, we've been friends since we were 13. He's my personal mechanic. Shout outs to Mikey Moto, and this kid lived in it. I mean, he still lives in his garage. I mean, that's
Well, in order to learn this stuff, you have to put in a lot of personal sacrifices and stuff. So that's where it is. In order to do this, you have to put in a whole lot of personal sacrifices, and that's what I've done.
As a little
So,
deeper, philosophy, I think anything that you are willing to, that you want to be good at in life, you need to maybe sacrifice a little bit of your own personal time, a little extra effort than the next guy.
well, and that's where the hating came from, because if you better than the guys. My thing was as a kid growing up in LA, we would hang out. We would kind of hang out under the street lights,
Mm.
and we would talk all this stuff. What we're gonna do, and what we're gonna do. But then it came to a point. I got tired of hanging out under the street light. I gotta go do something, you
Yeah.
know. to make this stuff happen.
That makes a lot
And
of
that's what I
sense.
did.
I got a good question. I know you started racing at a young age where racism was still big. Did you encounter a lot of racism when you won? And was it tough for you to get into certain events because you were black? I mean,
It wasn't that bad, but the thing that was crazy, like I was scrutinized more than the next guy. You know, I remember going to an event in 1986, and the guys out, they told me that my tire was outlawed. That I had a Goodyear tire. One of the guys that was in my neighborhood, that was one of the old guys was in my neighborhood. He gave me a tire, and I went to a major event at the time, and they told me that I went fast, and they told me that my tire was outlawed, and I got the tire at the time from the guy in the neighborhood, and the old white guy in the neighborhood, which was happened to own a Goodyear distributorship in LA at the time. And that old white guy happened to be Carol Shelby. And he gave me a tire that nobody else had.
Yeah, we just dipped into the car world right there.
Shelby.
That's what's up.
Yeah. That's not your ordinary tire guy.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. It's funny we talk tires. So, as a drag racer, what is the tire of choice for TomBo Racing?
We like both tires. We like the Mickey Thompson and the Goodyear.
Okay.
And the Shinko tire.
We don't ride Shinko tires over here.
Well, Shinko's more. It's not a drag tire though, right? That's more for like style, cruising, street, whatever, right?
No, Shinko makes a tire for both of them.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's news to me. I didn't know that. I knew about the Mickey Thompson. I knew about the Goodyear, but I didn't know Shinko made drag tires.
Yeah, they make a drag tire.
Okay. See, I guess since we don't drag race, we don't know. Because I mean, here in New York, we don't put Shinko tires on our bikes, especially for the track. We're more
you
of a Pirelli.
you guys go around them curves and all of that stuff right there. I had a buddy in LA named Big Bill, and one day him and another guy named Cliff, they decided to take me out to Willow Springs and put me on a GXXR 1100 with nitrous on it, and had me do some road racing. And so I'm like, cool. And the bike had nitrous on it, and they told me that said, Tom, try this bike out. And it took me a few laps to get used to it. And they said, man, you would have qualified in the middle of a pack, for the road race stuff. So I was like, okay. But when it came down to it, when they entered me into a race with 11 more guys, and then we all took off. And of course I beat all of these guys to the first turn. And then when we got to the first turn, I slowed down. These guys just dove in. I was like, damn. These guys they wasn't even using brakes. I was like, oh man. I was like, so that was my road racing deal right there. I was like,
this ain't for me.
So where is the future of drag racing going? Like, is it like new fuels, electric bikes, flying bikes? What is there a limit, do you think, to where humans are gonna take this bike drag racing? Where are we going with this sport?
Well, I don't think one of my buddies, he just went 550 on a drag bike. 550. He went 550, 260, almost 270.
Jeez.
Jesus Christ. There was a gentleman that I gotta put on. Mr. Bolton, you were set off the trend. We tapped into the glasses, yeah. So we all got our glasses with you now. We want that TomBo Racing energy.
All right.
So yeah, I saw recently there was a man who actually died of his injuries after he broke like some sort of record. I'm not sure if it's the same guy or about that guy. He did like 200 and something miles an hour, and then he like fell off the bike, and I guess he was all dead.
No, not my guy. My guy's name Larry McBride, and he went 265 in a quarter. I mean 265 in a quarter, 552 or something like that, and he's still kicking
That's
it.
Dang it.
absurd. Honestly, I mean, as far as like top speed is concerned, I can't even imagine over 200 miles an hour or at 200 miles
Well,
an hour. That's ridiculous.
well, it's kind of funny. The faster that you go, the slower that it seems.
Really?
Because
No.
everything, yeah, because everything just the bike just takes off, accelerates, and it's just smooth.
Mm,
That's the only way I can, And when the bike's going slow, then you got the bike seems like it's going fast, but when the bike when the you know, but when the bike really on a good path, you don't feel the bike just takes off and goes.
right.
So
That's and then you can look up in the stands and you can see Bob up there and everything,
You're like thinking about
and
what you're gonna be eating for
you
dinner
feel
that
like you
night.
can give the deuces to this guy, all of this stuff.
Well,
You know,
again, too, like I
that's
said,
what
I've
a
never
good
done it on a
pass was.
drag strip though either. So, truth be told, I shouldn't be doing it. But all the top speed runs I've been doing before were not at sanctioned locations, and it's a little bit more freaky for me. So that's for sure.
Yeah,
so
by me being an old street racer, because we used to race like that, to street racing, and I was like, man, uh, I was a young, crazy, and I'd like to race all the time with no helmet.
uh,
And then I was like, then these bikes got so fast where you couldn't breathe,
right?
you know?
Takes your
And I
breath
said,
away.
whoa. And then I go to the track, my bike going over 150 miles an hour. No wonder, you know? I'm like,
Actually, you
shucks.
know what? I need to
Let me
try
just
it.
hurry up and beat this
I
guy,
need to try it.
you
I
know?
need to take the bike to the drag strip because now that I think about it, just to be able to like bang through gears and not worry about dogs or police or grandmas or anybody else crossing my path.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's so much safer on the track than on the street because man, it's crazy stuff happen out
Mm,
there when you're racing people.
yeah.
yeah, we have that theory here as well, even though we do a different type of track. I got a good question. What goes through your mind in those 6 or 7 seconds, maybe less, that you're going that fast? What are you thinking about?
Uh, Hurry up and stop.
Yeah, because I know you wasn't thinking about dinner at that.
He's waving
You
high
know,
and Bill in the
I
stands.
I recently just started back racing, and so it's a different field now, and everything, and it's kind of like I just you know last year I made some passes on a new Turbo Pro street bike that we built for me to ride.
Nice, nice.
And I feel and now it feels so, man, I don't even I it's I'm hooked again. That's the bad part.
It makes you feel young again, right? I mean, I know you always say you always feel young, but
Yeah, but it makes you feel, you sit there. By me being an older guy, I sit there and I wonder and I wonder and I think about it. I try to look what I'm finna do and how I'm finna do it. But once I get on the bike, I forget about all of that. Shit, I'm ready to go. You know.
what advice can you give someone who's looking into drag racing, or even better, those, and I don't want to call them idiots, but those people who don't think correctly, that do it in the street? What advice can you give them?
To the builders too, actually.
Well, it's my advice to the guys uh, that try to do this stuff on the street. You know, you get. I advise them to go to the track where you get away from all the stuff that you can get, because man, you're looking at the guy that's been done it all, and all the tickets that you get, and if somebody gets hurt, then you got the manslaughter part and all of this stuff. We raced on the street in LA for 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 the time sometimes, and 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 then you get called by the police. You got the aiding and abetting, Man, it's just stupid.
Yeah, the list. Now, for someone, let's just say you have a young man who wants to get into the track. How do you, let's say I want to get into it, right? I don't know much about drag racing. What would be the first thing you recommend?
You know, get a bike, get a bike. Let's go to the track. Get a feel for going down the track, and then just progressively get into going. Leaving with the clutch, the lights, and all of that stuff. It's no different from somebody learning how to shoot basketball for the first time. I don't taught many guys and gals how to do this stuff.
You know what? Actually, that kind of brings me on to something else. We have the opportunity with like certified knee draggers or like other organizations to go out there for a track day and kind of like have a coach pull us aside and show us the lines and show us how to do certain things at the track. Is there something similar at a drag show? Are there like coaches that will
People that do that. I do it with a lot of guys sometimes. I take guys out there and I said, I see guys that some of the guys that I work with right now, we go out to the track and we see the up and coming youngsters, and we'll tell them like, dude, you good. Then I see the other guys. I said, dude, you ain't no good. You need to stay over here. You know, So it's so many people, and like I said, it is so different from when I was a youngster, where the bikes was unsafe. You could go buy a cool 600 and you're gonna go tens. You could go buy a GXXR 1000 or ZX10 or a Busa or ZX14. You got an 8-second player right now.
Damn.
All you got to do is learn how to ride.
I mean, have you ever taken guys to the side and actually like told them like, hey man, you need to work on your clutch control, or you need to inch up, right before the light kicks, you need to be able to, rock on your toes a little bit, and like, do you give guys little tips and tricks to the track like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's cool. That's cool. I didn't know that. That's an aspect of motorcycle racing that I never even knew about before. I would love to go try that.
So I'm in the East Coast. So let's say, for instance, I want to go learn how to drag on a bike. Where would you be? What would be the first place on the East Coast you recommend?
I would go to either Maple Grove, Acco, all of those tracks up there in New York. I've been all back that way racing back there.
Okay. Yeah, I think Acco is pretty popular here on the East Coast for a lot of different things.
You'll get hustled out there.
Yeah, I think it happens in the mid coast too. So now we have a little. I know you know quite a few people, and I think the bike community would like to hear about this. If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, you knew the people behind the movie Biker Boys. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit of history about that?
Not your soul.
Yeah, a lot of that, a lot of that stuff was done in Los Angeles, where I grew up at, and a lot of the guys that was they talked about the Biker Boys thing, and they gave, everywhere they went while they was filming it, everybody kept saying, that sounds like Black Tommy that did all of this. That sounds like Black Tommy. That sounds like Black Tommy, because I raced the guys, I beat the guys. I was one of the young members in the motorcycle club at the time, and so a lot of that stuff came from a lot of the stuff that I'd done.
That's pretty dope, because a lot of my buddies were in the movie, like John, my boy Chalole from Rough Riders, John from Willie Boys, Wink 1100. I'm pretty sure you met him at that event. So it was kind of dope to know that that had a lot to do with the stuff that you've done. I also found out that you're friends with the real Rick Ross, not the correction officer Rick Ross, but the real Rick Ross.
Oh yeah, that's my boy.
So yeah, I hear Rick Ross is getting into the dispensary business. Am I correct?
Yeah, we all are.
I saw that T-shirt. I saw that T-shirt advertisement on your Instagram. I was like, what's this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess there's a lot of weed smoking going on over there. Because I know
Oklahoma's big, man. Oklahoma's big.
Yeah, it's legal. It's legal. It's legal out here. So, you know, uh, my buddy, me and my buddy Ricky, Freeway Rick, we all grew up together. So, uh, in Los Angeles, so we all grew up together. So it was just crazy, you know.
I
You
hear
know?
I hear I hear Rick Ross was a real bad brother back in the day. You couldn't mess with that guy.
Oh man, it was sick, you know. Him and him, this is what I'm telling you. Uh, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Pressure. These youngsters don't know what pressure is. Pressure is when you got your buddy, the real Freeway Rick, telling you, say, "Hey, Tom, these guys want to race you. Come on, race these guys. For whatever money they want." And then your other buddy is the guy that just got out of prison, Harry O, the guy that was behind uh, Death Row Records.
Okay.
And they saying, "Well, Tom, race them dudes, huh? Go out there and race these dudes. Here's 20, 30,000. Go out there and race these. Or flick it. Tell them. I think it's 100 in the bag."
I think the fact that you're connected to so much bike history from the Biker Boys, the movie, which all bikers connect to, Vance and Hines, who an old rider like myself knows very much about it. Ricky Ross, Harley Davidson. Most people would live to just be like that with just one person. Now, I know from conversations, you're one of the most humblest people we have met, and Mike has testified to. And Mike's one humble guy. I mean, he just finished tearing me a new asshole, and I'm still drinking the water that came out of his freaking knee from a conversation we had the other day. So when he puts his name on something, it's really official. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to be able to talk what you gave us, the information you gave us, and giving us a little bit about your past. My main thing is that we don't ever want someone like yourself, especially a Black historian like yourself, to ever go away without being successors. Are there any little Boltons running around and predecessors who are going to take over your shop or make sure that the name lives on?
My kids don't like this.
Oh, man. No way.
They want to be computer programmers or something.
Yeah. This is that new generation. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you youngsters. Just that just taking the initiative to do what you guys do. To keep people up on all of the motorcycle stuff and the history and all that. I'm really proud of it because it's so many guys that don't know nothing about this stuff. I went to LA one time and I went to LA and I went by a friend of mine called me and said, "Hey, Tom, since you're in town, can you come by my house?" I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He said, "My son got a 600. I want you to, my son's kind of short. Can you help him lower the bike?" So I said, "Yeah." I go over there and these dudes don't even, they have no, the youngster, I talked to him on the phone. So when I got there, I took some parts with me to go over there and lower it. But his brother's got an R1 and he didn't know nothing. He just said, "Hey," so I seen him in the garage. He came in the garage. He said, "Yo, what's up, old school?" I said, "Oh, nothing." He called me old school. So I'm like, okay. And then he said, "What you doing to my turd?" I said, just lowering it and getting it all ready and all this old stuff." And then his brother tell himself, "Oh, as soon as he get through with my bike, he gonna probably whoop your ass." And he looks at me like, "Yeah, right. Yeah, right." So I said, I tell the youngster, I said, "Well, if you set me out a little bit, he said, "Well, hell," he said, "I give you links, old school." I said, "Oh, okay." So once I got through with the bike, lowered the bike and everything, I went out there and I stole the bike 2 or 3 times. This guy just, this kid just laughing. So he set me out about about 10 bikes,
10
and he
bikes,
never
damn.
seen me. He never seen me. He's like, Dad.
Yeah.
I said, this is old school. Man,
10 bikes turns
then
into
he
20
came,
bikes, that
then he
turns into
came,
30
he
bikes.
came back, and I set him out. I set him out 5 bikes. I said, just take off whenever you get comfortable. and I just flew by him. And then the younger brother was showing the older brother, like, man, this dude you call an old school is a bad dude when it comes to these bikes. So the youngster got mad. The brother left, and he went back and got all his buddies. They came back like they was finna just whoop my ass. So I ran through all of them dudes. They had Gixxer 1000s and Gixxer 1000 R1s, ZX10s, all of these bikes, and I just tore their ass up. And then the little brother started showing them on Google, man, this is who you messing with.
You gonna learn today, motherfucker.
Yeah, so they was like, oh shit.
You know what's funny
Well,
about
let me
that
ask you a
story though
question.
too is that I hear this type of like not contest but like trash talking online all the time about, you know, a 600 versus 750 versus 1,000. A lot of people don't even realize though, and maybe I'm off a little bit, but Tommy, please tell me if I'm wrong. But when it comes to like a drag race, let's say maybe an 1/8 mile or even up to a 1/4 mile, you're not really gonna see that big of a difference between a 600 and 1,000 if everything else is equal. It's not until you reach those higher speeds where that 1,000 is really gonna come into play, right?
Right. The 600 is a naturally quicker bike.
Bam.
If you got the right rider, because you can get to full throttle quicker than the guy with the 1000.
Bam. Right from an expert, people. There you go. Just so you know, you don't have to have 1,000 to win in a drag race. It's rider skill. Well, depending on the length of the race, but
that's exactly
rider skill for real.
Hey, Tommy, are you still hustling young folks?
Yeah, well, they come jump on me now.
Oh man.
You know, but you know, it's like this. I say, if you want a shot at the legend, it's gonna cost you.
There you go. You gotta pay to play. Now, with all the years of knowledge and expertise that you have, and I know we won't mention your guys that we don't want it to be biased. Who do you think right now on the 1/4 mile circuit, who's the best up and coming rider you think?
Man, it's so many of them. You know, you got like little Richard Gatson that's from Jersey down there now. He's one of the best ones. You got the youngsters, Jeremy Teasley. All these guys are great. All of these guys are just so good. You know, so you know, like I said, the stuff that they got now, the machines and the parts that's available now that you could put on these bikes and the computer controls that you can put on these bikes, and you put a guy on there that's got skill, man, it's unstoppable. You know, it's no different from you with the you got a guy with a turntable and a mic and all of that stuff, and they can do, and then they can rap and they can do all of that stuff. It's no different now.
But I got a better question, because you know you're right with all the technology, but it takes a different type of racer to be able to do it on an old bike. And when I say that, you know, you got these kids now, they're driving these Subarus, whatever, but it takes a different type of man. So there you go, take that business school. Yeah, TomBo Racing, here we are. In this day and age, if you had to take someone who can only do it with the technology that's out now and bring them back 30 years, who would you think has that still has it in them without the new tech? Yeah, that killer skill.
Oh, no doubt, little Richard Gatson.
Oh, he's got to be that Jersey boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you know a lot of people can race with the new technology, but put them in something old, they won't be able to figure it out. Like you know, now you got launch control and all that stuff. Before it was all timing. You know what I mean? It's all skill and timing.
You know, actually,
I
enjoy actually older bikes. Honestly, we've talked about this before on numerous occasions on the show. Well, you want to call me out because you want to say I'm cheap. which is partly true. I do like older bikes because they are cheap. But on top of that, I do like just the raw feel of no computer control. You know, when you hit that brake and you have ABS kick in, I don't really like that feeling. I don't want the computer to control my yaw angle or my lean angle or my traction in a turn. I just kind of like that raw, only the rider and the bike feel. Maybe I'm not gonna be as fast as somebody with computer controls, but I don't know. I just kind of like it. I just kind of like it better being more true to the original, you know. That's just
Yeah, it's a different. I like that. Nowadays, like I said, with this newer technology, it makes it for a guy to get on it and still and be able to do it a little bit, you know. And now that I'm older and I get on some of the new stuff, it makes me seem like, you know, like I'm just great.
I mean, actually, one thing at the drag strip, I mean, I've never been with a bike, but I've been to the drag strip numerous times with cars. You know, if you have launch control or traction control off the line at a drag strip, I feel like
You got
that's like half the battle right there. If you don't know how to
well,
control your clutch,
it's kind of half the battle, but you got to know how to set everything up.
true,
You know,
true.
So that's the thing that I like about my youngsters here. Uh, with the new computers on the bike, I can tell him what to look for and set the bike up with all the two-step, with the traction control and the wheelie control and all of this stuff. But like I say, that's what makes the 200 mile an hour so much special. Back then, we didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I got one question. So 100 years from now, you go to the pearly gates, and God tells you you get to ride one bike. Name your bike.
That's good.
A TomBo bike.
You should have known that was coming.
Now we going racer, cruiser, track bike. What are you going with?
I'm going with a TomBo Cruiser with that big wheel on it. Awesome. With some sounds.
Right on.
That's awesome. Well, Mr. Bolton, man, I can't tell you how much of an honor it was speaking to you tonight.
Hold on. Before you get to that, I feel what you're doing. Before we get to that, though, there's one more thing I wanted to ask, because I found it when I was scrolling through. I was digging deep here. There's only cheaters and losers, and I like to win. Mr. Bolton, please tell us where that came from and what's the meaning behind that. There's only cheaters and losers, and I like to win.
What shucks? That's the truth. It ain't but two kind of. Man. You see, I'm a big cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Cowboys and westerns. And
I thought you were gonna say Dallas Cowboys.
Shane,
they could use some cheating.
No, not that kind of cow. I'm talking about just cowboy movies. You seen them cowboy movies? Yeah. You seen what they did to Shane when he came to town trying to be the good guy? They came back and rolled down on him. That's just it.
Hey, listen, I'm a Western guy. What's your favorite Western?
Oh, shucks. I like them all. My first had to be Hondo with John Wayne.
I like Tombstone.
I like Tombstone too. I got so many of them that I like. The weekends. That's the weekends. When I'm in the shop, we got a big 75-inch TV here, and it's tuned to a cowboy movie.
I tell you a funny story. So a lot of people don't know this, but very few people who are close to me know. So I have a friend who is the Saudi prince. He's the son of the Ayatollah, and he comes to New York seldomly for maybe about a month or so, and he rents out the AMC movie theater in Times Square all to himself, and he brings the luggage bag full of old DVD Western movies. He is big on Western movies. So it's not something unusual, because this guy literally pays to have the movie theater open exclusively just for him, because he can afford to as the Ayatollah's son. And he watches Western movies on the big movie screen in IMAX.
Wow.
So yeah, pretty dope. So I like the fact that you're a Western guy, because I'm a Western guy. I like West.
Right on. So, fellas, it's about 9:10. We've been slapping gums for quite some time now. I think it's about time we probably close this thing out. You agree?
Yeah,
All right.
sure. I'll give Mr.
Yeah,
Bolton
yeah.
the floor. Let him.
Before we get out of here, Mr. Bolton, please like shout out your people at home, your people on your team. Just let the people know what's going on in your life, and let's close this thing out.
Any upcoming events too that we should know about, look forward to.
Yeah, we got April 17th. We got a race here in Oklahoma City, and all my guys will be there. And we got a couple brand new Pro Extreme bikes that we building. I'm gonna have one for my guy Kermit Lottie, Adrian Lottie, and Jimmy Cook, and myself. And we just gonna go out there and we just gonna have some fun and light them up, like you say. I don't know why they say that we cheat a lot, but I could be somewhere. I could be somewhere eating or somewhere just chilling.
Still
But I'm at
cheating.
the shop. I'm at the shop.
No, you're cheating somehow.
Yeah, well, if you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. So
True.
there it is. So so there it is. So
Right on.
Hey, it worked for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
oh yeah, and look at him, and he's still cheating.
Completely different team, still cheating.
Yeah.
Hey, for anybody home that wants to follow Tommy Bolton and his adventures and his records and all his accomplishments, if you look on your screen down below his video, I got obviously his name right there. I got his Instagram handle and also his website. So if you're interested in even buying a TomBo Racing bike, you can find the connect right there on the website and get in touch with him and get one of these fast.
He take your income tax check.
Yeah, for sure. And then some. We'll take a couple of them, I'm sure. But yo, Butter, what's going on, man? What's going on this week? What are we doing?
I mean, we got so enticed with the conversation with Mr. Bolton, and we forgot to really all our fans that actually chimed in, Mr. Bolton. We had a lot of people chime in. Bill's from the Biker Network. He's a really cool guy. If you get to check him out on Instagram, he keeps us informed here in New York of all the latest products that are coming out.
Cool.
Keeps us updated when the police are taking bikes on exits.
Wow.
But he's the type of guy, if you send him something, like he'll post it, and he's got a lot of followers in the East Coast. He's a really great guy. He's actually, we call him the chef because he's actually a professional chef by trade, as well as one hell of a biker, but he had network news. Pretty cool. And we want to thank the Black City Riders. They check in every week. Rob was asking what kind of drag class are you in. I'm pretty sure you probably touched all classes.
Yeah, but, we like the Pro Extreme, Pro Street, the Grudge classes. We kind of do all of that stuff.
Well, hopefully, maybe one day, if Rob would like to come out, I would love to come out there and see you guys race. Mike's been telling me to come over, and that's going to happen sometime this year. So definitely would like to come out when you're racing because he said, I got to come meet you.
Cool.
And just shout out to everybody who checked in, giving out feedback. Pretty great.
One thing we forgot to. Well, I mentioned in the beginning that the Beyond the Apex apparel is ready now. For anybody that's looking, we got tees. Like I said, made it Cotton Hustle here in Brooklyn. All sizes.
Well, I got to get. I got to get one.
Yeah. We'll send definitely text us your address, and we'll send you. We got a hat and a shirt for you, Tom. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. So, and I will hopefully see you soon.
All right, bro.
On top of that, Butter, when you called Carlos earlier, I was over there at his shop. Certified knee draggers. We mention them every week. What?
Brown nose.
Certified knee draggers are doing some really big things. Like, he's taking this apparel thing to the next level.
April 17th, he'll be at my anniversary selling apparel. So if you want some certified apparel,
I mean, I'm not gonna bust out all the stuff that I scooped up today, but folks.
Oh, you dirty bastard.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. And actually, I hadn't talked to you about it, but maybe I'll talk to you about it right now. I think very soon, as we have been discussing, I'm going to open up the online store for Beyond the Apex gear. I'm gonna try and work out a deal that we can actually sell some certified knee draggers gear on the site as well. What do you think?
I'll see y'all later.
Hey, take it
Hi.
easy, Tommy.
All right, Mr. Boy. We want to thank you
Yeah.
so much for being on the show, man. Handle business.
All right, baby. Thanks now.
Take care. Good night.
All right.
Yeah, so that was one thing I mentioned to Carlos earlier, was that I think it'd be nice if we actually, since we have this affiliation, we're gonna start selling some certified knee dragger stuff on the site as well.
Awesome. That'd be cool. So those of you that don't know, certified knee draggers is actual track and street riding apparel, as well as just formal wear apparel. We got t-shirts, hats. For those of you guys that just want to have different types of knee drags, pads. No homo, but they have their own certified knee dragger pucks, which are pretty dope. I ordered mine. Hopefully, I get them soon. I got to meet up with Carlos because I got some stuff for him as well. They got banners. They got dirty bastard, dirty bastard. I like the camel hat. I gotta go by there because I gotta meet up with him. I gotta drop off some stuff for him as well. Yo, Rob, thanks a lot. Yo, appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. Listen, Rob, I didn't know you was into that. So if you're into the whole drag racing stuff, bro, listen, Mike has been beating on me to go out to Oklahoma, man. I'd love to come out there and definitely we can catch one of those races out with TomBo Racing. He wants me to meet him straight up. That would be dope, man. If you're definitely interested, I'll let you know when I'm coming out to Oklahoma. You want to ride out with me, you can ride out with me. We want to thank Mike's ProLids for actually putting this together.
He basically hooked that whole thing up for real.
I mean, there's nothing that Mike doesn't touch that doesn't get blown up. We got a great show coming up. I think we have another female night coming. Am I correct? We're working on it. So we got a ladies' night coming up soon. There's gonna be a major Actually, it's female event.
Was it? I know yesterday is.
Today is Women's Day. Yeah, today's Women's Day. It's today. Today, yeah.
Celebrating all the women out there.
Yeah, it's also Biggie's birthday.
Shout out to Chachi.
Daytona's busy. I know a couple of people went out there and there was, I think the raceway wasn't still set up. I'm not even sure if it's on, but July 22nd is all female track day. North Carolina invades New York. It's gonna be really serious. Ladies, anybody who watches this, if you got a female friend who wants to learn how to ride or just interested in what track life is and wants to be around people that they can, sometimes the girls get a little intimidated with the guys, or just the machismo really doesn't do it for them. This is an all female event. This is going to be epic. I also just I touched base with Michelle Jackson. She's based out of Philly. She's been on our show before. She actually introduced me to a young lady who is now opening her own. She's going to be a Navy instructor, be the first Black woman to open a motorcycle academy in Virginia. What? Her name is Shaquila Boosie. That's right. I just got off the phone with Michelle earlier. We're actually going to make that connection. This is the first female. It's going to be the first Black woman to open a motorcycle academy.
We're in Virginia.
This is some. I'll get more details as we get ready to do the show. We're gonna actually have her on the show. It's gonna be really great. The details are to follow. I was on the phone with Michelle earlier, but I was in the middle of something, and then we got cut off. And I told her I'd give her a call back, so I will give her a call back tomorrow. It's gonna be a really great show to hear. I'm pretty sure she had to jump through hoops and boundaries to make this happen. So, ladies, we're a big supporter of female riders. Yeah. Beyond the Apex promotes it. I myself, I love it. I think it's one of the most amazing things to see a woman on a bike.
Just in general, I think we support people that have ideas, that have motivation, that have drive, that make things happen. A lot of people we have on the show, they see something wrong or they see something that's needed and they just make it happen. And then on top of that, these ladies that we've had on before, they have all of that in one. So not only are they like a minority in the community, but then they also have the drive. They also have the motivation and just the know-how to like make things happen for themselves. It's beautiful. We support this stuff 100% for sure. For sure.
Well, with that said,
Yeah.
it's that time.
All right, let's do this. So, everybody at home, thank you for joining in. Really appreciate it. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Down below, there's a little button that says subscribe, a little bell notification icon. You click that, you'll get told every time we go live, which is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on this channel. What else can I say? Beyond the Apex, me, Butter, whatever guests we have on, we talk motorcycle, everything. So come back next week, join us again. We'll have something interesting to talk about. And as I always say, leave this world better than you found it. Peace.